Hello people, welcome back to my channel Fitness Geek, and in today's video we are talking about infrastructure as a code. Before the existence of cloud infrastructure, we had data centers where we used to have server engineers who would who would set up the servers, and then there would be VMware engineers or the Windows engineers who would be building your servers, and it was a tedious process. It was a lengthy process. Creating a database was taking weeks because first you need to get the VM, and when you get the VM, there are some issues like the disks are not according to your requirements. Then you go back to the Windows team and then they build the server again, or they attach the disks. So it used to take a lot of time. It was kind of a wastage of time. But since the cloud has come into the picture, a lot of this time has been saved. It not only saves you time, time is money, so yeah, it just saves your money as well. So when there was introduction of cloud and people were using the portals, the Azure portal or the AWS portal to create their resources or provision their resources, so they had to go through an entire GUI, and that GUI will have a lot of pages. You need to keep clicking, keep entering the stuffs, database server name or the VM name, next, and keep, that was kind of a manual process. So you had to go through the entire portal steps, and then you create it, and then it gets created. The creation time was less than the time you spend in entering the details. Imagine you need to create 10 more of that database, or 10 more of that VM, or any of the resources. You need to create multiple resources. In that case, it will not be viable or feasible for you to go and use that portal again and again, keep going, logging in, entering the details, create. So that will be very tedious, lengthy process, and also you will have lots of human errors. Sometimes you might select stuffs that you might do some mistakes, and you might miss some fields, and then you will end up having lots of issues. So it's not repeatable because human tendency is to make errors, and we will make errors. That's where infrastructure as a code comes into the rescue. So what infrastructure as a code does is, you can just write your code. Like you want a database server, you can just write it in YAML or whichever tool you're using in that code, and when you submit the request, it goes into your cloud provider, and the cloud provider understands what you exactly want, and it provisions it. So this in short is infrastructure as a code, where you can sum up your entire infrastructure in terms of machine code, or code which is understood by the machine, and then it can deploy all your resources. So let's go through a PPT that I have prepared, a small presentation about infrastructure as a code. I'll keep this session very short because I just want you to understand what it is, and then we can deep dive into it in later blogs. So let's see what infrastructure as a code is. So if you go with the definition, infrastructure as a code is the process of managing and provisioning computer data centers through machine readable definition files. So these files can be anything, your YAML, or it can be JSON, or it can be HCL in Terraform, which is HashiCorp's language, rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. So you don't have to go to the data center, or you don't need to be present there, and you don't need to use the portals, because portal is an easy way to do it. Like anyone can do it. It's like Facebook, right? You can just log in and start creating resources, but you cannot keep doing that like for your entire project. Like there are hundreds of databases you need hundreds of VMs. You can't keep going and clicking and creating it. So it will be much more suitable for you to create your entire infrastructure in terms of repeatable codes. So you have your template ready and someone says, oh, I need a storage account. You already have it, you just need to change the name of that storage account, and boom, it's up there running, and you know how it would be because you already know the configuration of your previous deployments. So yeah, that makes the life easy for any cloud engineer. So if you see the key features here: deliver stable environments rapidly at scale. Yes. Repeatable and prevent runtime issues. So as I said previously, you'll be able to repeat what you have done previously. You have deployed a database with like basic tier or if your standard tier, and you want to keep repeating that in your infrastructure. So you just keep your code ready. You have your code ready, and you can just, as per the request, you just keep deploying the same settings of database, changing the names, and if you want to add a few things, you can add to the code as well. So it makes it repeatable. You avoid manual configuration, so you avoid human errors. So the less you interact with the GUI, it will make the errors that you make will get reduced, because when you code, you keep testing it, so you know what the end result would be. And when you are using all these infrastructure as a code tools, they will also give you a plan. They will see what's already deployed and what your code will do, and you can go through your execution plan, and you will come to know that, okay, I am going to update this resource, or I'm going to create this resource. So in those cases, it is very useful. So it avoids human error. So if we talk about IAC tools in infrastructure as a code, the short form is IAC. So if you look at some of the popular IAC tools, AWS has got CloudFormation. So and then Azure has got their ARM templates, which is JSON. Google has got their GCP manager. So that also uses, I think they also use JSON and YAML and Python, I guess. Yep, they use Python. And in Terraform is the last one, and we will be talking a lot about Terraform in our coming vlogs. Terraform was developed by HashiCorp. And what Terraform is the best tool right now if you want to learn, because it is cloud agnostic. So cloud agnostic in the sense you can use Terraform to deploy resources in Azure or your GCP, or you can manage AWS, you can manage any Puppet, Chef, anything. You can manage everything using Terraform. So if you ask me one tool that you should learn for managing your infrastructure, it would be Terraform, like in terms of cloud. Also, with Terraform you can handle a lot of on-premises servers as well. So yes, I think that it would be the best tool to learn if you want to manage your cloud with code. So let's understand in layman's term what exactly infrastructure as a code does. Imagine a situation where there are a few builders who have got a task to make some buildings, some schools, and they have got a community area and they need to build the parks and everything. So what they have to do is they have to do manually. They'll go there, they'll have to plan it, and then they have to do all the work manually. Imagine if there is a robot to whom the builders can talk, and they say, hey, this is the things that I need. They will write it down, they'll give it to the robot, and it's now robot's headache to go and deploy it. I mean, go and build the infrastructure, build the buildings and parks and everything as per the plan. So you are just giving a pre-planned, coded, map for the robot to go and execute it. So what the robot does is it translates it into the language that is understood by the cloud provider, and it goes and it deploys everything that you wanted, and it will also ask you whether whatever your code is going to do is exactly what you want. So if you agree, you can confirm, and the changes will take place. So this is very, this is how I understood infrastructure as a code, and this is what I want to share as well. Like, understanding it in this way will make it easier for you. So if you are working on Azure, you should learn ARM and Terraform. If you are on cloud, AWS, you will learn cloud formation. You will learn cloud formation and Terraform again, because Terraform is cloud agnostic, and most of the companies right now are using Terraform because of the limitations with other tools. If you are with GCP, you are learning GCPM and Terraform. So what's common here is Terraform. The one tool which you can use and manage all your cloud providers would be Terraform. So yeah, I would recommend you to start learning Terraform, and I'll just show you a very basic Terraform command, how it looks and what it will do. So if you look at this Terraform example, this is a very basic example from Azure. So if you look at the code, it says resource, so that means it will create a resource. If you see in double quotation, it is Azure RM resource group, so that is the resource type, so it will be resource group. And next is example, so that is just a name. You can give any identifier. I could have given my resource group or anything. And then inside, so this is identifier for Terraform, and under the curly braces you will see a name associated, so that's the actual resource group name you will see in Azure. And the last one is the location equals to West Europe, so it will deploy your resource group in West Europe. This is very basic code, and this code you just need to go and after initialization and stuffs, you do a Terraform apply and Terraform plan, and you can see the execution plan, and it will say you that, oh okay, this is going to create a resource group. And if in case you already have a resource group with that name, then it would say, oh, there is already one, and if there is a change in the location, so it will show you what exactly the changes it is going to do, this code of yours will do. And when you do a Terraform apply, it goes ahead and creates or provisions or the resources that you want. So if I run this, it will create a resource group with name example. So that's it for today's short session. Next, in coming videos, we will do demos for Terraform. We'll start from very basic, creating a resource group. We'll also in further I'll also not just Terraform, I'll also use your Azure CLI, PowerShell, or we can also we'll also see the difference between creating a resource from Terraform and difference between creating a resource from your Azure portal. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In case you have any doubts, any feedback, do comment below. You can also reach out to me in LinkedIn or Facebook. I'll provide the link in the description. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe, do support this channel, and in future we'll come up with lots of cloud content and fitness content and lots of things to explore. So stay tuned, keep supporting. Cheers.